Hey there, I'm Mike Hockett, and these are your latest ID Quick Hits. After a whole lot of talk, the tariffs are here and in effect. Starting June 1st, the US enacted a 25% tariff on imports of steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum from the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. Expectedly, this resulted in retaliation from those areas. Canada imposed matching tariffs against the US as of July 1st. China has accused the US of starting a trade war and likewise started $34 billion worth of tariffs equal to that of the US. And India plans to recoup penalties of $241 million on $1.2 billion worth of steel and aluminum exported to the US, and other countries are concerned about the impacts of US tariffs as well. While time will tell if the US tariffs will have the economic effect the Trump administration desires, plenty of analysis has already poured in. Notably, a Reuters survey of 60 economists showed that 80% of them believe the steel and aluminum tariffs will be a net harm to the US economy, with the remaining 20% saying the tariffs will have little to no effect. On a more granular level, it appears the tariffs certainly will have an impact on industrial suppliers and distributors of metal products. On Monday, I visited a company in Michigan that is a fastener distributor and provider of vendor-managed inventory products and systems. I was compelled to ask them if they are expecting to be affected by these tariffs, and an executive immediately responded that the company has already felt such an impact. He said that one of the company's main suppliers raised their prices within days after the tariffs were announced, before they even went into effect. He said the company will try and weather those higher costs for the foreseeable future instead of passing them down to their customers by raising prices themselves. Since my interview there, I keep wondering how many other distributors and suppliers can afford to weather the storm. How many others have already raised prices? I've seen a fair amount of press releases from suppliers stating that they have raised prices due to the tariffs, but I'm sure I'm only seeing the tip of the iceberg. A number of news reports have included commentary about this topic from industrial metal product suppliers, many of which are already seeing grim results from the tariffs. At the largest nail manufacturer in the US, Mid-Continental, it laid off 60 of its 500 workers at its Poplar Bluff, Missouri plant in late June due to increased steel costs.
The imposition of these tariffs on June 1st on our raw materials has actually put our operations into a crisis mode.
Chris Pratt is the operations general manager at Mid-Continent Steel & Wire. The company is the largest U.S. nail manufacturer and employs hundreds of people in Poplar Bluff. But 60 employees were laid off this month, leaving facilities like this looking like a ghost town.
We're currently standing in the paper tape facility of our operations that we had to completely idle Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock due to lack of sales.
Pratt says their customers have canceled 50% of their orders because the price of their products have jumped up since the steel tariff started.
Low-priced import nails that we're having to compete with that is not a part of the Section 232 tariff has forced our customers to start seeking product in those areas, going away from the U.S. manufactured product that supports our local industry and jobs.
The company said orders for nails sunk 50% after the company raised its own prices to deal with those higher costs. At automotive parts maker Stripmatic Products, the company says it is now paying almost 50% more for imported steel than it was a year ago, a cost that will impact the company's profits and profit sharing, employee pay raises, and capital spending.
Bill Adler is paying 10 cents more a pound for steel than he was just a year ago.
That type of cost increase is not built into our profit model.
His Cleveland warehouse cranks out millions of metal parts used on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Adler is hopeful the oversaturation of foreign steel can be quickly reined in and the tariffs will be rescinded.
It's going to affect our profits, my employees' profit sharing, their ability to get pay increases, our ability to add new people and invest in new equipment.
On the flip side, the owner of precision metal parts supplier Atlas Toolworks says the tariffs are helping his business and others in similar businesses, as the tariffs encourage customers to keep their supply chain domestic instead of offshoring. Here's what Atlas owner Zach Muddle told Fox Business last week.
Well, I'm a precision components manufacturer, and for me, it's all about feeding into a global supply chain. I'm a little guy, and I sell to big companies, and so when big companies have moved their supply chains overseas to Asia or other places, chasing these low subsidies and all these other things, these low costs that are really artificial, that hurts companies like mine. So we need big companies to bring their supply chains back to the U.S., and I think that's really what the tariffs are about.
All right.
So what do you think? Are the steel and aluminum tariffs a good thing for your business, or might they be down the road? Will things get worse before they get better? If you want to share how your company has been impacted, or just your general thoughts on this topic, feel free to comment below or shoot me an email. When the calendar turns to September, I'll be back on the trade show circuit, and I'll certainly be looking to ask suppliers and distributors what tariff impacts their business is experiencing. Those are your latest ID Quick Hits. Keep up with all the latest industrial distribution market news at indist.com. Thanks for watching.